This
test
conference will now be recorded.
Sorry, thank you, Chantal. Nope, that's okay. The local test administration monitoring. So I definitely will show all of you these resources. However, given our current situation with a novel coronavirus and kind of changes minute by minute, this is not really a structured webinar any longer. The intent here is really to provide you with the most up-to-date information on the testing requirements, where we're at in that process, as well as provide you with a platform to ask us any questions, discuss anything regarding assessment, so that we can also make sure that our frequently asked questions section on this page is comprehensive and that we're here to support you with your needs locally. So again, I apologize that the topic for this meeting has changed slightly to address those needs, but I think we will definitely be able to give you the information that you need for the spring testing. Is everybody hearing me all right? Okay, great. Just getting a little feedback there. So what I wanted to do, in case anyone is unfamiliar with this web page, is show you where this is located in the information that we have included here. So to address some of the questions coming in on kind of how to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic and what to do next for precautions, there is a page that OPI has created that includes a bunch of our programs and services that we provide to schools, as well as a section here on assessment and accountability. So I'm going to click on this section. And what we've done is we've prepared this frequently asked questions, and we're including all of the information and developments as they come in. And so it's presented to you in chronological order. Things really are happening minute by minute as we get new information. And what we want to start with, as this is information to address where we're at with Governor Bullock's 2-week school closure, but also what the existing requirements are from both the federal and state perspective. So as far as the accountability requirements and participation and all of those details, if you haven't had a chance to read this resource, it's really comprehensive. It really kind of spells out what the minimum requirements are, and these are persisting as they have for assessment under that federal auspice. Then for what is included in kind of more detail on the participation requirements, we've included what assessments are scheduled for the spring administration and any flexibilities that might exist at the local level. So in that document that I just pointed to, one of the sections within the Every Student Succeeds Act is the section 8401, which is the waiver section to waive those requirements. So should a local school district be unable to meet any of these participation requirements, these flexibilities do exist under ESSA. One of the things we have been successful with in conversations and coordination with our test delivery vendor is extending the testing window in response to this 2-week school closure. So this section includes these date extensions. So the Smarter Balance assessment has been extended until May 29th. The ACT with writing. So we are currently in negotiations, conversations, looking for flexibilities and options with ACT, but as you know, this 2 weeks closure does impact the March 24th date. So that is not an available testing date for any of our schools. So for those materials, ACT just sent out an email early this morning to ACT test coordinators, letting them know to return those materials. You cannot reuse any of these materials. They must be returned to ACT. So for future testing, that's kind of where we're at. It is looking as though both the March 24th and April 7th dates will be canceled as we address this COVID-19 pandemic. So that means right now we are working with securing as the initial only option to us right now, April 21st date for ACT. In our conversations about what ACT is able to support, there are other national days within June and July. There is fall testing that's supported for census states. However, these need to be determined within our contract on what we are able to support for students. But again, we're looking to maximize flexibilities and opportunities for our students, for our schools, given these challenges right now. For the multi-state alternate assessment, these have also been extended 2 weeks, this testing window. And for the science in grade 5 and 8 and the alternate science grade 5, 8, and 11, these have been extended to May 22nd. So again, I wanted to provide information under here, what happens if we're unable to meet that 95% participation requirement, or what next steps. There are waivers available under ESSA under that section 8401, and the department considers these on a case-by-case basis. The OPI and other states are diligently working with department to see if there are any other flexibilities or options to states given this unprecedented situation. For details on returning materials for the ACT, this section includes some of the details there. And I believe Ronnie's on the call here, so she can answer any questions for kind of the nitty-gritty details on that process if anyone on the call does have questions there. One of the things that when school resumes, kind of anticipating, let's say, school resumes on March 30th and all moves forward, we still will have the pre-ACT, which has been extended to May 22nd. Interims are also available for the Smarter Balance, both IABs and ICAs, till May 22nd. So those are through. And right now, again, we're kind of trying to address the testing requirements for schools given the nature of this rapidly moving virus. So what I want to pause here is to move to our recent media release on kind of the steps that the Office of Public Instruction is taking. So this was just released this morning, and the Montana Office of Public Instruction has made a request to the Board of Public Education to remove the testing requirements for the summative assessments, given the uncertainty and concerns about equity across all of our schools being in different situations within their community about this virus and other precautions that are being taken. So this article is available for you to look at the steps we are taking and trying to make sure that we are supporting our schools at in every possible way that we can. We're going to go back to our frequently asked questions document. Here's some information included on what information you're able to share with OPI and others, really addressing the student privacy concerns released by the department and who to contact for help. And so, as I'm sure all of us can agree, these are very difficult, challenging times. Our office is here to support you with any questions or technical assistance you may have on this topic. Your patience and understanding are greatly appreciated if we're a little bit delayed in getting you an answer or getting right to either a phone call or voicemail. So we've put an automatic notice on each of our phone email responses, just so you're aware that we are processing all of these questions and needs on a flow basis and are handling them in the order in which they're received. So relevant to the topic for today that we had planned for you is the local test administration monitoring. So prior to this request to the Board of Public Education, we had lots of site visits scheduled with schools, and schools had testing schedules and plans underway to begin testing for these requirements, as we would do any spring year. And given a normal circumstance, I wanted to point you to the resources that we have on the topic for today's agenda. So this is the main page of our statewide testing on the OPI's website. You can find this under Leadership, Assessment, and Accountability in Statewide Testing. And included on here, if you go to Test Security, we've organized all of our materials under Policies, Resources, and Training Support. And today, what we really had on the agenda to discuss with you are some ways locally that you could use these checklists and make sure that everything was going smoothly. Let's say you were a building coordinator and you were handling, observing one of your educators to make sure things were going well. So I just selected the Access for ELS assessment. This checklist was used by the OPI this winter to observe the English language proficiency assessment. And you could use this, again, at the district or school level with your teachers. So there are 4 different classifications included in here. So not evident might mean there's nothing there to show. Needs improvement may be that activity was observed, but maybe not to the degree which it's defined within the guidelines. And by the guidelines, we're really referring back to the test administration manual and those expectations, or the test coordinator manual and those expectations there. Meet expectation means this is satisfactory, done just as the requirement says with those guidelines, and then it exceeds expectation. This would mean there's something exemplary about this practice in line with the guidelines. And so taking a little bit added measure, still while protecting the integrity of the guidelines. So it's segmented into before assessment on the day of assessment activities, as well as during assessment, after assessment. And then for each assessment, we're looking for training log, test security agreements, where things are stored, and kind of any of the details there. And so, one, we want to be very transparent with our expectations for our districts and post this and let you know when we do a site visit, this is what it looks like. But also, these can be used at any time to support, to make sure that if there is a need for improvement, these things can be addressed, and that we're always working towards this kind of a continuous improvement plan to make sure we're doing the best administration we can for these assessments. So this is what the form and the process looks like. And we have one for each assessment on here. And we have some other resources. So as far as what could that look like, we also do have a test security portal that I want to show you that includes, if you were conducting training on each of these, a bunch of resources, step-by-step, and questions that you could kind of take this prepackaged set of expectations and work through with any of your educators. So that's also available Again, on our website, we have policies, resources, and training support. So these are all the musts before tests can be administered. These are all the things to support you. And here are some trainings to help you get to those expectations. And so what I'm going to do now is pause, and then I'll have Marcy, if you can help me with the chat, and Chantel, any chats that are coming through with questions, I'm going to pause now so that we can just take any questions on where we're at with spring testing.
I don't have any chats at this time.
Okay. Do you want to unmute everybody on the phone? And if, as Chantel unmutes everyone, if you could just locally mute yourself to make sure that you don't have any background noise. If you don't have a question, I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask any questions here. Again, this is really for both your benefit as well as ours, so that we make sure that we have all of questions and answers published on our website as things are rapidly changing. If you could go ahead and unmute everyone, Chantel.
They have them?
Okay. Does anybody have questions either on the requirements or would like more details on local test monitoring practices? Going to keep giving some wait time here. I know I presented a lot of information. Any chats coming in, Chantel?
Not as of yet.
All right, I'll give it till 3:50, hearing and seeing no questions. Thank you for joining us today. Again, our apologies for not having a structured webinar for you here today. But again, we want to make sure that we can focus on the essential needs as all of this is unfolding. And it looks like we do have a question, Chantel, and I'm going to defer this one to you.
NAEP. Yes. NAEP at this time, if your school is selected, you would have received communication. There were 3 assessment windows for NAEP for this assessment period. 9 and 13 have been completed. They were in the fall and the winter. And age 17 was supposed to be assessed starting this week for age 17. So they have been suspended at this time. There is no further communication other than we're kind of in the holding pattern, have not been canceled, but have been suspended at this time until everyone sees how the virus unfolds. So thank you for your question. If I didn't answer it or you have more questions, let me know.
Thank you, Allie. We appreciate the feedback.
Oh, good. Okay, and I answered the chatter's
Are
question.
there any
You're
other
welcome.
questions?
No new chat. Oh, we just lost Ashley. All right, if there are no new chats or any more questions. Oh, caller 6 has arrived. This would be Ashley back.
Yep, sorry about that.
Nope,
Not sure what happened. Were there any questions while I was dropped?
Nope, no questions, no chat.
All right, well, we will conclude today's webinar. Again, thank you everybody for joining us today. We appreciate all you do for your students, your schools. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call us or email us, and we'd be happy to assist you.